Spider mites are a really common pest in both outdoor gardens and on houseplants. And luckily my plants don't have them right now, so I'm going to do some preventative care. But if you notice any kind of yellow dots or stippling on your leaves, and then eventually the entire leaf can turn yellow and brown, that is usually a sign of spider mites, especially if it's accompanied by any kind of webbing on the leaves. That's actually an indication of a very specific spider mite called the two-spotted. But luckily, we can use predatory mites to control spider mites, and they're a natural, non-toxic solution, totally safe to use in your home, around your family and pets. So a great option if you want to avoid chemicals. Now, I want to explain the difference between our bottles and our sachets right here. So the bottles contain adults. This is the best thing to do if you have an active infestation because they're going to start feeding right away. The sachets, however, this is a slow release method. It's more for prevention and maintenance because there are eggs in there and they will hatch out over the course of about 2 weeks, and they will slowly emerge to feed on whatever pests you have on your plant. But just remember, if you do have an active infestation, so you're using the bottles, and really this goes for any beneficial insect, not just predatory mites, but it will take multiple applications of the beneficial insect to break the pest life cycle. So try not to think of it like a chemical where it's, a one and done treatment and you're just like wiping everything out on the plant. Try to think of it instead as balancing your ecosystem between the good bugs and the bad bugs. So we need to make sure we're doing multiple releases of the good bugs in order to break that pest life cycle, no matter what species we're talking about, but especially if you're using a predator that, only goes after one life stage of a pest, like the larval stage, but then you still have adults that are not necessarily being targeted. So you want to make sure you do enough applications so you're breaking that life cycle. As I mentioned earlier, if you see any webbing on your leaves, on your plant, and that you probably have the two-spotted mite, so it's a good idea to try to use Persimilis. If you aren't sure which species of pest mite you have, or you just want broad control, you're doing maintenance, then try to use a combination of our species or even our special blend. And I do want to emphasize how small these insects are. I mean, they're extremely difficult to see with the naked eye, basically being no bigger than a speck of dust. So Persimilis tends to be the easiest one to see because its orangey red coloring helps it stand out, and I'll put a video over so you can see that. But a lot of the other ones are tan or even almost translucent in color, making them extremely hard to see. And on top of that, Hypoaspis miles is actually soil dwelling as well. So they're going to shy away from light even more. So just be aware of that. If you apply them to your plants and you're not seeing them, don't freak out. They're just really tiny. Like really, you need a microscope to be able to see these guys. Application is really easy. Obviously with the sachets, you just hang them on your desired plant. There are holes in them, so you don't need to cut it open or anything. See those little holes? So as they hatch out, they will emerge. Like I said, it can be over the course of about 2 weeks. And then when it comes to the bottles, you can use our hanging boxes, which I really like for houseplants because it's a really clean application. When I use mites outside, a lot of times I'll just sprinkle them on the soil at the base of the plant, but inside it's kind of nice to keep the vermiculite contained so it's not all over my houseplants. And when it comes to the bottle, before your application, you can just kind of turn it to gently distribute them, and then opening it, you can either push this part inwards, but just be careful obviously because your insects are in there. Or my favorite way to do it is just to squeeze. You can kind of see because I already opened this bottle when I poured it in that box, but just squeeze it and then see how the lid's coming out. And be careful, if you do it too fast, you kind of might spill, but there we go. And like I said, they're extremely small and difficult to see, so don't be too freaked out. You can try to pour them on a piece of white paper, like sprinkle some of this out on a piece of white paper and use some kind of magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to look at them if you want to make sure they're viable upon delivery. But otherwise, a microscope is really going to be your best bet. Now, the release boxes with the adults, like I said, they're really easy to put together. They come like this, and you literally just, that's it. And then they've got the little tab. Like, I put that together in a second, so really easy. Be sure to refer to our website for the full set of instructions and the release rates, which will also come with your order. And then our YouTube channel has plenty of other instructional videos on mites and all of our insects for that matter. So make sure to check that out. And remember at checkout, whether you're doing preventative maintenance or you're fighting something active, you can always sign up for the subscription option at checkout. And what that's going to do is give you a discounted price, and it's going to keep your insects coming at a regular interval so that you stay on top of it. And that really is the best way to use beneficial insects effectively, is to just keep them, doing well in your ecosystem, so you can save a bit of money that way. And of course, you can cancel at any time. So go to naturesgoodguys.com if you need to purchase some mites, and let us know what other type of videos you want to see on our YouTube channel.